Part 1. The very beginning of Lily and Clover's adventure. In a quiet little town edged by rolling green hills and dotted with white picket fences, there lived a thoughtful, kind-hearted girl named Lily May. Lily was 7 years old, with big brown eyes that sparkled whenever she tried something new. She lived with her mother and father in a cozy blue house with a red door. For as long as she could remember, Lily had dreamed of having her own puppy to love and care for, but she knew that bringing a puppy home was a big responsibility. The morning that would change Lily's life began like any other Sunday. Sunlight tiptoed through the sheer curtains of Lily's bedroom, painting golden stripes across her quilt. Lily blinked awake and sat up, noticing her heart felt lighter, as though something wonderful was coming. She heard her father downstairs, humming while brewing coffee, and her mother softly calling, "Lily, sweetheart, come eat some breakfast." Downstairs at the kitchen table, Lily found her parents smiling at her more brightly than usual. On the table sat a plate of warm blueberry pancakes, each one dusted with powdered sugar in the shape of little hearts. But it wasn't the pancakes that made Lily's stomach flutter. It was the small, crinkled envelope resting by her plate. "Happy early birthday, darling," her mother said as Lily picked up the envelope. Lily's 7th birthday was still 2 days away, but her parents explained that some surprises just couldn't wait. With trembling fingers, Lily opened the envelope. Inside was a photograph of a tiny golden puppy with a cream-colored coat, big paws, and curious dark eyes. On the back, her parents had written, "Meet her today at Maple Street Animal Shelter." Lily gasped. Her heart pounded. "A puppy?" she whispered, barely daring to believe it. Soon she and her parents were in the car, driving down tree-lined streets until they reached a small, cheerful red brick building with a painted sign that read Maple Street Animal Shelter. The air outside was crisp and sweet with early spring blossoms. Inside, Lily took a deep breath. The shelter smelled faintly of straw and gentle hope. She followed a kind volunteer through the rows of kennels, each holding dogs of every shape and size. Some dogs barked hello. Others slept curled up in blankets. But Lily's eyes searched for that one special face from the photo. Finally, gathering them in the back of the shelter, the volunteer lifted a small crate door and revealed the little golden puppy. At first, the puppy lay curled, tiny and still. But when she saw Lily's gentle brown eyes, she lifted her head and gave a soft, curious whimper. Her tail wagged tentatively, brushing against the straw. Lily knelt down and held out her hand. The puppy, drawn by Lily's warm smile, stepped gingerly forward and nuzzled Lily's fingers with her soft nose. The little puppy's fur felt like spun sunshine, and a faint green ribbon was tied around her neck. Lily's heart soared. She whispered, "Hello, little one. My name is Lily. What's yours?" "Her name is Clover," the volunteer said softly. "She's about 10 weeks old, and she's been waiting for a family just like yours." Clover gave Lily's hand another sniff, then pressed her cheek against Lily's palm. It was the kindest puppy greeting Lily had ever known. Lily's parents exchanged happy glances. "If you're ready, love," her father said, "we can bring Clover home today." Lily felt her cheeks flush with excitement. She reached down and scooped Clover into her arms. The puppy blinked once, then stretched all 4 legs and curled up like a little doggy burrito in Lily's arms. As they walked out of the shelter, Lily stroked Clover's ears. Each floppy ear felt like soft velvet. Clover yawned and let out a tiny squeak that sounded almost like a squeaky toy. Lily laughed, and Clover squeezed her little body tight against Lily's chest. It felt perfect, like Clover had always belonged to Lily. In the car ride home, Lily held Clover on her lap. Clover looked out the window with bright eyes, tail wagging as the afternoon light danced on the asphalt. Whenever Lily reached down to scratch Clover's head, Clover dropped her head into Lily's palm and closed her eyes in pure contentment. When they arrived home, Lily and her parents set Clover's special bed by the living room window. It was a plush, round cushion with soft sides just high enough to make Clover feel snug. They filled a shallow bowl with warm water, and another with tiny, crunchy puppy kibble. Lily watched as Clover tentatively sniffed her new dishes, then promptly dipped a paw into the water bowl and splashed a bit. Lily giggled and gently guided Clover's paw out, then showed her how to lap the water like a proper puppy. Next came the backyard. Lily flung open the side door, and Clover bolted into the yard, her tail streaming behind her. She sniffed the grass and the daisies, rolled over onto her back with her 4 paws in the air, and gave a happy bark. Lily ran alongside her, barefoot on the cool grass. Clover chased after the little white butterflies and then skidded to a stop, nibbling at the clover shoots that reminded Lily of her name. "Come here, Clover," Lily called, dropping to her knees. Clover looked up, ears perked, and scampered back. She jumped into Lily's lap and licked her face, smudging a dot of grass on Lily's chin. Lily hugged her tight. "I'm so happy you're mine," Lily whispered. Clover wagged her tail like a tiny windshield wiper. Inside once more, it was time to teach Clover her very first word. Lily looked into Clover's dark, trusting eyes and said, "Clover, sit." At first, Clover cocked her head, unsure. Lily gently pressed Clover's back legs down until Clover sat, then rewarded her with one kibble. Clover chewed it cheerily, then barked once, as if saying, "I did it." Her parents applauded softly, and Lily beamed. It felt as though Clover already understood and was determined to please her new best friend. After a few more sits and a shaky attempt at stay, Lily decided it was time for some snuggles. She carried Clover upstairs to her bedroom, a pastel haven filled with stuffed animals, pretty picture books, and a small bookshelf that wobbled just a bit whenever you pulled out a book. Lily had saved a special spot beside her own bed for Clover's bed. She put a folded blanket there and laid Clover down gently. Clover wriggled until she was comfortable, then nuzzled into the blanket with a contented sigh. Lily sat beside her, stroking her back, and Clover's big puppy eyes drooped into sleepiness. But that wasn't the very last surprise of the day. Lily's mom peered in, carrying a little gift box tied with a pink ribbon. "For you both," she said. Lily opened it and found an illustrated book called The Big Book of Puppy Tricks and Tales. She hugged the book to her chest, imagining all the new things she and Clover would learn: how to shake paws, fetch a ball, and maybe even do a little puppy-friendly yoga. The golden afternoon light faded to a rosy glow in the sky. Outside, a few stars twinkled as if applauding the evening's joy. Lily tucked the book under her arm, gave Clover one last gentle scratch behind her ears, and whispered softly, "Tomorrow we'll start our first lesson, Clover. I can't wait." With that promise safely held in Lily's heart, she turned off the bedside lamp. The room grew quiet, all except for the soft, rhythmic sound of Clover's breathing as she drifted into puppy dreams. Lily slipped under the covers herself, thinking of the adventures waiting for them, the games of fetch, the long walks in the park, and the warm, comforting cuddles at bedtime. Above the quiet hum of the house, Lily could still feel Clover's tiny heartbeat in her arm. It was the sweetest sound she'd ever known. In the hush of the night, she whispered, "Good night, Clover. I love you." And Clover gave one last little wiggle of her tail before both girl and puppy fell fast asleep, dreaming of all the wonderful tomorrows they would share. And so begins the story of Lily May and her puppy Clover, a journey of friendship, discovery, and the kind of love that turns an ordinary day into something truly magical. To be continued in Part 2. Part 2. Early the next morning, a soft light slipped through the curtains of Lily's bedroom, painting warm stripes across her pink walls. She lay still for a moment, half awake, listening to a tiny, rhythmic snore at the foot of her bed. Charlie, her new puppy, was curled into a fuzzy brown ball. His little whiskers trembled as he breathed, and Lily's heart swelled with delight. She slid out from under the covers, being careful not to wake him, and patted over in her slippers. Slowly, she bent down and brushed her hand gently over his wagging tail. "Good morning, Charlie," she whispered. Instantly, his eyes flicked open. He gave a sleepy little yawn, revealing 2 tiny front teeth, and sniffed at her fingers. "Shall we start our day?" Lily asked, scooping him into her arms. Charlie wiggled, but snuggled close to her chest, safe and warm. Downstairs, the kitchen light was already on. Lily's mother, soft-spoken and patient, set 2 small bowls on the tiled floor, one filled with water, the other with puppy kibble. Charlie trotted after Lily, his tail held high. When he saw his breakfast, he dove right in, crunching with gusto. Lily giggled. "He's hungry," she said. Her mother knelt beside them, rubbing Charlie's ears. "Growing puppies need their meals," she explained, as Lily watched the puppy finish every last bit. When he was done, Charlie licked his lips, then looked up at Lily as if to say, "What next?" Lily's father appeared in the doorway, carrying a little leash and a pair of rubber boots. "Time for our first walk in the garden," he announced. Lily's eyes sparkled. She clipped one end of the leash onto Charlie's soft collar, while her father fastened the other end around her wrist. Charlie stood very still at first, then took a tentative step forward, glancing back to make sure Lily was right behind him. Outside, the garden was bright with early spring blooms. Daisies nodded their white faces in the breeze, and a single bluebird hopped along the fence. Charlie sniffed every flower, every blade of grass, his nose twitching in delight. Lily laughed as he tried to chase a butterfly, leaping up on his hind legs. "You can chase it," she coaxed gently, "but don't scare it away." Charlie barked half-heartedly, then scampered back to her side. They walked in a slow circle, Lily guiding Charlie with the leash so he learned to stay close. Her father pointed out how to hold it. Nice and loose, but never too slack. Lily practiced, and Charlie trotted perfectly beside her. When they made a complete loop, they both came to a stop under the old oak tree. Lily knelt down and scratched Charlie behind the ears. "Well done," she whispered. Inside again, Lily's mother showed her how to make a comfy corner for Charlie in the family room. They placed a soft blanket and a couple of chew toys in a little wooden crate. Lily arranged everything with utmost care. Charlie sniffed his new corner, then sat down and chewed contentedly on a squeaky bone. As the morning sun climbed higher, Lily decided it was time to teach Charlie his first command. "Sit," she said, holding a tiny treat just above his nose. Charlie looked up, his ears perking. "Sit," she repeated. And, after a moment of puppy thought, Charlie dropped down onto his hind legs. Lily's heart leapt. "Good boy," she cheered, giving him the treat. Charlie gave a happy bark and wagged his tail in triumph. But training was not always smooth. Next, Lily tried to teach him stay. She placed Charlie on his blanket and backed away. "Stay," she said firmly. But Charlie, ever curious, padded after her. He sniffed her socks, investigated her slippers, then sank down for a nap right beside her. Lily pouted for a moment, but her father gently reminded her. "Patience, Lily. Puppies learn best when they're happy." Lily nodded and offered Charlie a soft cuddle. "You're excused this time," she cooed. Charlie responded by licking her cheek, his tail sweeping across the floor like a little broom. Lily laughed and hugged him close. By afternoon, Lily felt a flutter of hungry butterflies in her tummy. She helped her mother prepare sandwiches and a pitcher of lemonade. Charlie watched from his blanket, head cocked. When Lily dropped a crumb, he gobbled it up in a single bound. "Watch those crumbs," her mother warned playfully. "We don't want a crumb-loving puppy." Recharged by lunch, Lily decided it was time for some quiet play. She fetched her favorite picture book, an illustrated story about a little girl and her mischievous kitten, and settled on the couch. Charlie hopped up beside her, and Lily opened the book. She read aloud in her softest voice, petting Charlie's head as she turned each page. Charlie listened, or at least he looked like he was listening. He closed one eye, then the other, until finally he was drifting into dreamland right in Lily's lap. Lily finished the story in a gentle whisper, then carefully scooped Charlie up and carried him to his blanket corner. She tucked a small stuffed bear beside him for company. Just as Lily was straightening up, she noticed something. Her favorite pair of sparkly pink sandals, the ones she wore just yesterday, were missing from their usual spot by the door. She hurried down the hallway to the entryway, and there, sure enough, was a shoe with a big bite mark out of the strap. "Oh, Charlie!" Lily exclaimed, but instead of scolding, she knelt beside him. Charlie looked guilty. His ears drooped, and a tiny whimper escaped him. Lily took a deep breath. She remembered her father's words about patience. "It's okay," she said softly. "Puppies chew. It's how they learn." Charlie lowered his head. Lily found a sturdy chew toy and offered it to him. He sniffed it, gave it a nibble, and then a big, enthusiastic chomp. His tail began to wag again. Lily's mother appeared at the bottom of the stairs. "That's a good swap," she praised. "Always give him a suitable toy." She hugged Lily. "You're doing wonderfully." Lily's proud smile stretched from one ear to the other. The late afternoon stretched gently into evening. Lily's father returned from work with a surprise, a flimsy cardboard box full of soft old towels. "Puppy bath?" he suggested with a grin. Lily's face brightened. Charlie's fur was a bit dusty from all the outdoor adventures. They filled the bathtub with warm water and added a drop of puppy shampoo. Lily helped coax Charlie into the tub. At first he sat down, not sure what to think, but then her father used a little cup to gently pour water over his back. Charlie gave a surprised yelp, but when a soapy lather formed, he seemed to enjoy the gentle massage. Lily sang a silly song as she washed his paws, and Charlie's tail swished back and forth. Once he was rinsed and wrapped in a big towel, Charlie shook himself like a little furry earthquake, sending droplets flying everywhere. Lily giggled and helped dry him off. Soon he was soft and fluffy again. "You smell like a puppy angel," Lily declared. Charlie barked in agreement, or maybe in delight. Dinner time arrived. Grilled cheese sandwiches for Lily, and a small bowl of puppy kibble for Charlie. They ate side by side at the kitchen table. Lily's mother placed Charlie's dish on the floor beside Lily's chair, so he could eat while she finished her sandwich. Lily brushed her fingers through Charlie's fur as he ate, feeling grateful for every little moment. As the sky darkened, Lily's parents lit a couple of lanterns in the living room. The soft glow made everything look cozy and golden. Lily curled up on the rug with Charlie snuggled against her. Her father fetched a children's magazine and flipped through a section on how to care for your puppy. Together, they learned about brushing his teeth, checking his paws, and giving him safe treats. Lily made a little checklist in her notebook. 1. Feed Charlie 2 times a day. 2. Take Charlie out for walks. Page X free. Play with Charlie gently. Page X. Fig odds to kidding. Page X. 4. Clean Charlie's paws after playing. Page X. 5. Give Charlie his chew toys when he's restless. Charlie listened with bright eyes, as if he understood every word. At last, it was bedtime. Lily climbed the stairs with Charlie trotting behind. She changed into her favorite pajamas, the ones with tiny puppies all over, and gathered Charlie's blanket and his stuffed bear. She placed him gently in his corner. Then, with a soft brush, she combed his fur one last time. "Good night, Charlie," Lily whispered. "I can't wait for tomorrow." Charlie yawned a big puppy yawn, his eyes heavy. He curled up on the blanket, resting his chin on the stuffed bear's head. Lily climbed into her own bed and pulled the covers up to her chin. From her pillow, she could see Charlie's corner, bathed in the moonlight that slipped through the window. He looked peaceful and content, part of Lily's family now. She closed her eyes and took a slow, deep breath. Her heart felt full of love, of gentle lessons learned, and of the many adventures still to come with her new friend. As she drifted off to sleep, she imagined tomorrow's play. Teaching Charlie to fetch, exploring a hidden path in the park, and perhaps a picnic under the willow tree. And in the hush of the night, the soft rise and fall of 2 gentle breaths, one big and one very little, blended together in perfect harmony. End of Part 2. Part 3. A new day's adventure and home for always. Sunlight filtered softly through the curtains as Emma stirred awake. The gentle morning melody of birdsong drifted through the open bedroom window. For a moment she lay very still, listening and hoping. Then, there it was again, the tiny, excited yip from the basket beside her bed. She reached out a hand and felt the fluffy warmth of Clover's soft ear. "Good morning, Clover," Emma whispered, careful not to startle her new friend. Clover blinked her bright brown eyes and gave a little wag of her short, waggy tail. Emma smiled sleepily, swinging her legs over the side of the bed to greet the day, and greet her puppy too. 1. A special morning ritual. Every morning, Emma and Clover had begun to share a simple ritual. Emma would slip on her slippers, carefully lift Clover from the basket, and carry her down the stairs. In the kitchen, Emma's mother had set out a small dish of water and a little bowl of puppy food. While Clover nosed her breakfast eagerly, Emma sat beside her, softly reading a picture book out loud. Clover's ears would flicker at the sound of Emma's voice, as though she recognized each gentle vowel and consonant. This morning, afterward, Emma decided it was time for a new kind of adventure. She laced up her sneakers and gently clipped Clover's leash onto her tiny harness. "Today," she said in a hushed voice, sensing the promise in the crisp morning air, "we're going exploring." 2. The backyard discovery. The backyard was still cloaked in the dappled light of early dawn. Dew sparkled on the grass like a carpet of diamonds. Clover sniffed the air, pulled a little, and twirled in delight. Emma laughed, adjusting her grip to give Clover just enough freedom to wander. Together they circled the garden beds, pausing at the rose bush that was just beginning to bloom. Emma knelt beside Clover, brushing a fallen petal aside. That's a rosebud, she explained. They'll open soon, red and pink like little hearts. Clover gave the petals a tiny lick, then scampered on, discovering a fluttering butterfly and a busy bee. Emma's heart swelled with happiness, watching Clover's wonder at the world. They walked to the fence at the far edge of the yard. Emma knelt down so they could look through the narrow gaps. On the other side lay a wide field of golden grasses moving like waves in a gentle breeze. Overhead, a pair of hawks circled. Clover let out a small bark, amazed at the sight, and Emma whispered, "They're just flying high, Clover, just like we'll fly someday." 3. Learning to trust and to be brave. As the morning sun climbed higher, Emma took Clover's leash in both hands. "We're going to practice some new things today," Emma said. "Learning to walk on a leash is important, and I know you can do it." Clover cocked her head, as though she understood every word. They began to walk in straight lines and gentle curves, Emma pausing whenever Clover seated herself, unsure of the next step. Then Emma offered her calmest encouragement. "Good girl, Clover, keep going." Clover tried again, her little paws lifting and falling. Each time Clover succeeded in taking one more step, Emma showered her with praise and a small piece of training treat. By the time they returned to the back porch, Clover was prancing like a champion. Emma knelt down and hugged her. "You did it," she said, beaming. "I'm so proud of you." Clover licked Emma's cheek in celebration, and Emma giggled as she rose to her feet. 4. The Tale of Little Challenges. Back inside, Emma's mother was helping Clover through another challenge, the new world of chewing toys instead of shoes. Clover had left tiny tooth marks on Emma's favorite slippers. But on her mat lay a basket of rope bones, rubber squeakers, and fluff-filled pillows. Mother sat cross-legged and showed Clover how to pick them up, squeak them, and gently shake them. Clover soon preferred the bright blue chew toy shaped like a star, and Emma joined in, coaxing Clover into a lively tug-of-war that echoed with happy squeaks. "Every day we learn something new," Emma said, turning to her mother with sparkling eyes. "Today, leash walking, new toys, and," she reached down and stroked Clover's soft back, "a lot of love." 5. A little scare, a big relief. In the afternoon, Emma went to fetch Clover from the living room but found the front door ajar. Panic fluttered in Emma's chest. "Moom!" she called. Her mother came running in behind her. Clover was nowhere to be seen. Emma's heart pounded as they both rushed outside. The gate had swung open in the breeze. Emma's knees felt weak. Mother grasped her hand. "Let's look together," she said firmly but kindly. They called Clover's name through the garden. "Clover! Here, Clover! Come home, sweet girl!" For a long moment, there was only silence, and the distant sound of a car down the street. Emma took a shaky breath. "She's so small," she whispered, her voice trembling. "What if she got lost?" At that instant, a familiar yip rose from the bushes near the fence. Emma peered through the leaves, and there she was, Clover, panting but unharmed, tiny tail wagging as she looked up. Emma rushed forward, scooping Clover into her arms. Clover pressed her nose against Emma's cheek in relief. Emma's eyes glistened with tears and joy. Mother knelt beside her and whispered, "You were brave just now, Emma. You and Clover, together." Emma held Clover close. "We're a team," she said. "Forever a team." 6. Sunset snuggles and soft goodnights. That evening, Emma and her family settled on the living room rug. A gentle sunset painted the sky in shades of peach and lavender outside the window. Emma's father told a story about a puppy who learned to climb mountains and always found her way home. Clover lay curled on Emma's lap, her eyelids fluttering as she listened. Emma reached into the basket beside her and pulled out a small knitted blanket she had made for Clover. She draped it over her puppy's back. "This is your very own blanket," Emma said in a gentle hush. Clover gave a tiny yawn and snuggled into its folds. Emma's heart grew peaceful, watching her friend drift toward sleep. 7. Bedtime promises and tender dreams. When it was finally time for bed, Emma carried Clover up the stairs to her room. The soft glow of a nightlight in the shape of a moon cast a warm circle on the wall. Emma tucked Clover into her basket with the knitted blanket. Clover looked up at Emma with sleepy eyes, then licked her hand in a tiny goodnight kiss. Emma climbed into her own bed and reached out to stroke Clover's head. "I love you, Clover," she murmured. "I promise to keep you safe, help you learn, and share every day's adventure with you. Clover let out a little sigh of contentment, her breathing even and calm. Emma closed her eyes. She thought of the day's discoveries, the shining dew, the fluttering butterfly, the triumph of new steps on the leash, the chew toy victory, the scare and the relief, and most of all, the bright friendship between a girl and her puppy. She felt happy, safe, and already dreaming of tomorrow's adventures. As the house settled into quiet, Clover curled into a perfect puppy ball, a small rise and fall of her back marking each soft breath. Emma's last waking thought was of the promise they shared, two hearts learning trust and love, growing together day by day. In the hush of the night, the moon watched over them, tucking both girl and puppy into dreams as gentle as a lullaby. And somewhere between sleep and waking, Emma dreamed of fields to explore, butterflies to chase, and the lifelong bond she and Clover would carry in their hearts. Forever friends, forever home. The end.